Hey everybody, it's time for the Friday just after Bill Burr's Thursday, Monday morning podcast. This is Joe, as you know. I'm going to start right off here, right off the jump. I did listen last night, and I took some notes, but to be honest with everyone, when I woke up this morning and looked at the notes, about half of them, well, I can read most of it, but about half of it, I forget what he was talking about, so I can't even fucking comment. Yeah, so I'm gonna basically go off a couple things I heard that I can comment on, and then the rest will be just me today. We'll do yesterday and Monday. We'll combine those for Tuesday, so I actually got some shit to talk about maybe. First thing I heard, of course, he starts the podcast and he yawns and he's all tired, and he sounds like he's just waking up, and oh god damn it, I gotta do this stupid podcast for all these poor people like me like me that want to listen to it, for at work or whatever the fuck we listen to. I'm sure most people it's at work. That's where I listen to my shit, or not my shit, but I listen to podcasts and comedians and all that. But no, it's funny when he yawned, my first thought was, you heartless rich son of a bitch. Like I said, we get an hour and a half of time from Bill each week, because the Thursday he adds on like a fucking 10-year-old clip of some old shit. I don't like, to me, no offense, like I said, it's one of my favorite comedians, but to add an old clip on, that's like me just stopping right here and being like, well, fuck it, it's Friday, I'm gonna enjoy my day. So you guys listen to what I said 10 years ago. Like, what the I get it for people who didn't follow the cast, for years. But, yeah, it's, the current events aren't current if you're listening to 10 years ago, and with COVID and all the dumb shit that happened in between. And then you got the president crap and the fucking... all the drama in between. There's no way. Well, not no way. Obviously, people listen, but personally, I don't really care to hear about anything that's 10 years old. That or not even 10, but I don't know. I guess us normal common folk got enough in our lives going on, and don't need to hear more shit. Even though he's a comedian, and back then he's probably a little more funny with his anger and his rants. I do like the compilations people make of the fucking of Bill's advice and shit, but it's like one podcast and one question, and then they cut in another, and like I said, I appreciate it, it's cool, but it's not new material. And once you get into something and start watching and listening, and you run out of all the material, kind of gets like I was waiting for the Hulu special, just to see what kind of new rants or shit he was talking about. All right, so let's see if I can go through my notes real quick before I go into my own shit. Yeah, here's a question for everybody: how many times is he gonna bring up fucking Elon Musk? To be honest, the fucking guy's like, he talks about him fighting somebody, and and I gotta blow my fucking nose. So, sorry about that. No, so yeah, he talks about Elon, every podcast. He's like, this fucking rich, stapled, laminated Twitter guy, etc. And yeah, it's one of those, like, you're kind of beating the dead horse, besides the fact that the guy's still up and running and doing shit, it's like, we get it. We all know who Elon Musk is. We all know about Tesla. We all know about the drill baby drill and all that bullshit. And if we don't know, then I'm sure somebody's told you. Just like Bill said, you got the fucking people watching the news. They walk around all wide-eyed like, did you see what happened? Did you see what's coming? Did you see what's coming? What's going to happen next year? And and you just freak out. But yeah, I mentioned, talking about Elon Musk fighting. Remember that time they were supposed to set up, man, it was probably a joke, but it was going to be a Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk when everybody was all excited about the Mike Tyson fight. And they were saying the two richest guys should do it. I think for wars, you know, it's like Ukraine and Russia. Just have the leaders fight. Like a straight-on fist fight, or however you want to put it, you know. Fucking, you want to go old West style? You want to give them a 6-shooter? Have them each take, 10 paces and turn, pow, you know. It's something that's better than what we're doing now, you know. It's better than sending out millions of fucking citizens that, yeah, you want to protect your family. Like, of course, I'll fight for my family. I'll fight for my freedom and protect my family and whatnot. But, if I'm fighting someone across the world for something across the world, also for freedom, I understand it, but, you got to be, I don't know, even in our own country, I guess, I guess it'd be different, but, yeah, I just don't see it. It's like the government, we elected you to run this place. You're the boss, Nobody walks into a business. I guess people do walk into businesses and complain all the time to the underbosses or the non-bosses, but at the end of the day, it's, I want to see your boss, but when you're in a war, you're on the front line, you're getting shot at, it's not like the enemies are walking up to you like, hey, I really don't want to shoot you, you're just an average Joe, like me, where's your boss? I want to talk to him, like, that doesn't happen, and, it's, but I think they should. I think they should. I think they should bring that. But that should be an idea. Having the world leaders, or not even world leaders, but billionaires, whatever, fighting over. You wanna do this or that. You gotta beat old Vladdy. Like Trump. You want Greenland, then you gotta beat whoever the Danish leader is, or the Greenland. You got. Not military, because yeah, we're bigger and stronger, and America, me, but but Trump versus whoever the hell is in charge there, just squabbling up, I mean, Joe Biden, we wouldn't have probably got anywhere. I think Trump's got one good haymaker in him before he gets tired. Let's see. All right, I'm going to flip the page here on the other side, see if I can read any of those fucking notes. And then if not, I'm just going to jump into my own shit, because I have some little conspiracies. Oh, yeah, Bill mentions, again, the food supply. Yeah, we know it's poison. I can see the 10,000 items on the back of every box that I buy. And I know when I go to a fast food place, when I crave the same shit fucking 30 hours later, I know why that is, because, certain foods when I make, or, buy or eat or cook or however the fuck, depending on how you get it, but either way, certain foods, it's like, yep, that was good, but I had my fill, I don't need another steak, for a couple days, a couple weeks, whatever, I've been to that restaurant, I'm good on it, but then, like Bill says, like McDonald's, you go and you eat there once, and then your body's like, hey man, it's morning, are we doing this again? Are we doing it? Are we doing it, man? So I get it, dude. I get again, same thing with the billionaires and the Elon Musk shit. Like, we get it, man. Bring on the next level of funny. What is the next level of the funny? Where's the new podcast material, man? We talk about the play, we talk about, random New York shit. I'm gonna mention that fucking flooded cornfield here. So yeah, speaking on flooded cornfields, I'm going into my own stories. All right, Bill. That's it for responding to him, because like I said, I can't read my own shit, so that'll be Tuesday. But first thing, we got some weather here finally in Michigan. The first storm I bitched about, people were saying like, oh, you gotta go to the basement. There's tornadoes coming, and I understand in the southern states like Arkansas and wherever else, whatnot, there was tornadoes like crazy, and of course, my prayers go out to everybody that was affected and has been affected in the past, will be affected in the present / near future, etc. But nothing happened at my place. Not even, we got like a little drizzle, and that was it. So we would have been sitting in the basement, like I said, with like a damn fucking radio with the antenna sticking up, just sitting there acting like, feeling stupid. But no, what was today? Friday morning, so not last night, Wednesday night. We actually got a thunderstorm. And me being a Florida boy, old Florida Island boy, It's not an island, but, you know, that's how everybody fucking acts like we act down there, like we're fucking retarded. I know I'm not supposed to use that word, but I don't mean it as in, you know, autistic. I mean it as you're acting fucking stupid. So, yeah, let me rephrase that. People act like the, you know, southern people are inherently stupid and family fuckers and all that, and no, that's not quite always the case, or mostly the case, actually. You know, a lot of people are actually either from up here, like the Midwest or the Northeast. Either they're from there or their children are. So if you're calling people in Florida stupid, you're pretty much saying that your family or yourself is stupid, you know, at some point. If you're from these areas, I don't know, you know, anybody else, you can call whoever you want stupid. I don't know where you're from, but no. So we had some weather, you know, actual thunderstorm, but it wasn't, you know, I mean, when I'm thinking thunderstorm like Florida, that's, you know, that's 100 strikes, lightning strikes an hour within, you know, a few, you know, small distance from your home. Like, you're not so much worried about tornadoes and stuff or wind, but just the heavy rains and the lightning. But the heavy rains, you know, again, I didn't really think too much of. But as I'm in my studio, headed to work now, I'm looking along in the streets, and there's ditches on each side. There's like a grass ditch, but there's not one drainage ditch, like at the corner of in your own fucking lane. In the corner of like, say you're at a red light, you know, you look at the corner where the fucking people on the bikes should be waiting instead of just hauling ass across. Usually, well, not usually, but where I'm from, Florida, Tampa Bay area, you know, most of those drainage ditches are big enough you could fit damn near like a teenage, you know, you feel like a 16-year-old down there. Like, hey, you know, the football just went down there, fucking go get it. And one of your friends, I've had friends, one of them will be like, fuck it, I'll do it. And I think my friend might have got halfway stuck, but we were like 16 to 18. But the point is, you can get fucking down there if you're, you know, smaller. We might have actually had a smaller friend do it. I think I remember, if I remember correctly. I think I remember the friend that we had do it. He's a smaller guy. He's still a smaller guy. He probably still would fit. But the point is, there's none of those here. I haven't seen a single one. Like, not even a small one, nothing. I mean, there's, like I said, the grass ditch. But I assume that's more for cars, you know, flying off the fucking road or something. Not to, I don't know, fly into a cornfield. But, no, so yeah, no drainage. So I go to bed. Yeah, it's like 10:30, you know, trying to get a little, you know, catch up on sleep. I was hoping to catch up and, you know, be able to stay up a little later for the Lightning game last night. Yeah, they fucking lost to the Senators. But one more win out of the last 7 games and the Lightning are in the playoffs. Or one more loss by, you know, either of the other teams, Columbus or Montreal. I haven't looked, so I know Montreal won, but Columbus, I haven't looked to see if they won or lost. Either way, the Lightning are, you know, going to make the playoffs unless they, I mean, it'd take a miracle. It'd be the, you know, backwards miracle for them to miss, so I'm not worried about that. So we're not going to go into that. You know, they lost. It should have been a win. You know, that's a playoff type game, the playoff team. Those are the games you're going to have to win to make the cup. So, you know, that's that. But, yeah, so you know, this thunderstorm comes through. I think nothing of it. I go to bed. About 2 a.m., I get woken up by my roommate. And he's like, dude, you got to come see this. And I'm like, I don't, you know, what is it? And he's like, dude, look at the road. And I'm like, I don't care about the road. I mean, it's 2 o'clock. I got to get up and, you know, 6, 7 to get ready for work and shit. And he's like, just 1 second. I'm like, all right, fuck it, whatever. And I go out to the road and you don't even see the road anymore. That's the yards, the road, the ditches. It was like, you know, it was just a river. And it was cool to watch, but it was crazy to watch because, you know, these are things that you see in Florida after you know, during a hurricane or, you know, well, yeah, usually like a tropical storm or hurricane, you know, you see the roads flood that much where there's actually waves. I mean, you could see, you know, middle of the night, 2 a.m., not really street lights here like that, so I think it was probably moonlight or just, the house lights, but you can see the ripples, moving down the fucking, what would have been the street. And my roommate says, if it's like this in the morning, I don't think you're going to work. And I was like, yeah, me too. I don't think I'm, I'll do the middle of the road. Like, you take that river and you just drive through the middle of it. If it's not deep, of course. If it's like, I have a truck, so I can fit like 2 feet of water under me before I get to the engine bay and whatnot. But no, so it's, it's like, if it's like a foot deep, and it's just a little water flowing, I can pull out, and as long as I'm in the middle of the river, I won't hit, I'll be in the middle of the road. But, no, I woke up and, unfortunately, well, I need the money, but unfortunately for work, I guess, for work time, the road was there, so I was like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to work. And then, so we got the weather, so yeah, the drainage ditches, and as I'm driving now to work here, I'm going off, over bridges and crossing lights and, all kinds of shit, and there's not one drain. I mean, I'm watching it's just curb, all the way down the fucking road. Bottom of the hill, no drain. Coming up the hill, no, of course, no drains, but that's to be expected. Yeah, this shit is, pretty, that's not, oh, is that one? Nope, not even a drain there. I'm going slower to see if there's any, and I can't even see any. Nope, I don't see any drains. So that makes sense, I guess. So I'm gonna have to deal with flooding here. That's gonna be a thing. And I don't mean, flooding like fucking, like the Carolinas, when they had the flash flooding after the hurricane, and I was thinking the hurricane hit Florida, and then the Carolinas, why do they have worse flooding? And I know they got mountains and valleys and all that, but, for the sake of argument, Florida got the worst of the storm, and Florida's flat, if not, not like New Orleans below sea level, but, I mean, only a couple feet above. And, yeah, sure enough, now I know why. Well, if Florida's got, drainage ditches you could stuff a basketball in, or 4 basketballs side by side and have them all go down to the fucking, which is funny because there's no land under there, it's Florida, you got sand and water, so how they have a drainage sewer system that you can actually, like, walk down in, but then here, like I said, at least, the small town area, I don't know about Detroit if I drive into the city, I'm assuming they have it there, but yeah, the small town area, there's not one that I've seen so far anywhere. So, yeah, that was cool, but it's supposed to rain this weekend. We'll see how Monday works out for work as far as, I don't have a boat here. Florida's the boat place, I mean, we got lakes and shit here, but I don't have a boat. I don't got the money for that shit. On a worse note, unfortunately, oh, look at that. That guy's his whole muffler is dragging on the ground. Dude, you don't hear that? You don't fucking hear that? Not only the exhaust, but you don't hear the sparks and the metal scraping. And then with the roads here, there's bumps so much. I'm sure you hear them in the video. It's fucking rattling. I hear it when I re-listen to my shit. So this dude's just driving, and it's just dunk, tink, 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 tink down the fucking road. I guess people really don't care. But no, a more sad note. I want to shout it out there for the souls. Rest in peace. We lost 2 people. Well, not we, but two people that I know. One close and one used to be close, but still care for them. They lost someone. My good friend, my first guest, old Kirk. That's what I'm going to call him, at least. I called him Cap'n Kirk, but, I was thinking, Cap'n, like Cappin or Capn, like the cereal. But, we don't want any shit from fucking, from Star Trek for Captain Kirk. I don't want any shit from that. Like I said, if I'm going to get a legal letter, it's going to be from old Broadway Bill's fucking bald ass. But, no, so Captain Kirk, old Kirky boy, he lost his grandma, which, any loss is crap. I remember losing, I don't know which grandmas he's, he got 2, so I don't know if he's close to the other one or whatnot, but this is the one that I knew of, so, my heart and soul and thoughts go out to him. And, his grandma lived to 90 something. So, good life for her. It's always sad to see someone go, but I'm hoping, I'm hoping it was peaceful and that she's now peacefully on the other side, not worrying about, all the shit. On that note, with Bill and his, loving God theory, I'm not going to say that God's not loving or not caring, but from what I've, delved into, the research I've done, and all my friends, and you heard Kirk on Bill's stand-up when we were doing the reactions. You heard Kirk call me the researcher, and I'm well known for that. Like I said, I found my ex-wife's real dad out of the whole country. She didn't know anything but his name and his birthday, and I found him, and his name was very common. It was Timothy, and I won't say the rest, but Timothy is a common fucking name in the country, at least for, that generation, and, the fathers of my generation, etc. It's like Bill, William, but probably not going to get many Williams. Well, you might, because it's, such a royal name over in England and whatnot, or I don't know, but either way, you get the point. You don't got any Gertrudes or Barbers anymore. Same thing. You don't got many Timothys or Tims anymore. But anyway, where the fuck was I going with that? Oh yeah, no, I found my ex-wife's dad, but so I'm the researcher. It's my nickname from all my friends. And so in the research, that I've done, and I actually been doing it since I went to college in 2011, so it's been a while. I'm not gonna say I'm an expert, but I do feel like I've read or listened to a lot about it. It's near-death experience and dying, and I'm not gonna say, like I said, I'm not gonna say there's necessarily loving or unloving God, but everybody who says they had a near-death experience, pretty much all of them, whether they're atheist or, Buddhist or Christian or whatever, that didn't really matter from whatever country or whatever faith they were. When they came back, it wasn't so much the faith, it was spirituality, as in there's a loving and creating energy. Now, once that, that energy, if you call it God, controls and creates everything, maybe not controls, but that was going to be my point, is God does love everything and God creates, but if free will is actually free will, God created you, and then psychology in college, you have the nature and nurture, where nature is your DNA and your biological predisposition, like he said, to addictions and things like that, which it is a spectrum. He's right, Bill's right, it is a spectrum. You're fully autistic and you're fully non-autistic, or you're fully this and you're fully that. Like, you have exact anger issues and you have exactly no anger. Like, it's not like that. Everybody's on a spectrum. Everybody, has their snapping point. Everybody's got their dumb moments, or their dumb moments or their good moments. Oh, look at this. There's a drug deal going on behind me. The guy just walked out of his car behind a car to another car. Man, you gotta love life. This is what I'm talking about. I wish shit like this would pop up like every time I'm doing a cast. How often do you get to catch a drug deal? Because nobody gets out of one car, walks across a parking lot to another car, gets in, and then you don't do that. not in a regular. We got Boost Mobile, 7-Eleven, Pharmacy, Fantastic Sam's, Mr. Pizza, Subway, Coney Island, nail salon, of course. Get your nail done. $4 extra. Yeah, so, but it is early in the morning. Sun's just coming up. Well, it's up for a little, but no, yeah. So research and shit, I do believe there's a loving, caring God, but I don't think it's a man in a fucking robe with a staff and a lightning bolt. And I think that we're all created, but we're also all, in a sense, given, you're given your own path to life, through life. And I don't know if God judges you or you judge yourself, or if all of creation judges you or what. But, that's for those people that do bad. And like Bill said, when you do bad, you feel it. You do good, you feel it. And, besides that, the only other thing I want to bring up, and it's the pretty big thing, is what does everybody think on the JFK files that's released? Of course, there's not going to be a smoking gun. I mean, who in the CIA, who in any agency in the world is going to write on a paper, like, in big fucking permanent marker, it was not, Lee Oswald, it was, Jonathan Smith from South Texas, or, whatever, wherever, and he did it with a 22, this, that, and the other, and, they're not going to sit there and give you a fucking blank, almost not a blank check, but, you know what I mean? Like, even in the most secretive documents, you might catch, I wish, I don't know why I was doing like a gangster kind of voice, but, we sent we sent the weapons and the plans to this guy or that guy, I could see just finding that, but, finding an actual page from the CIA that says, just straight up, this is the head of the CIA, this is the year 1964, and we admit we had, this man shoot JFK in the motorcade, and, it's not going to happen, So the smoking gun idea, that's not, you're missing that. That ain't happening. But like the people have said, the trail of facts that leads to the fact that, government agencies had a hand in it and all that, that's what I believe fully. Now, I'm not going to go into, I don't have time. I'm about to get to work here, so I have to cut it short. Like I said, I'll respond to Bill when I actually have time to listen and fucking understand what I'm writing down. Because I can't even remember what I wrote down, like what it refers to, what he says. But no, the JFK files, I've watched and listened to it, but I listened to that Senate testimony, the task force that they made like a couple days ago, and I always believed there was a shot from the front anyway, because, the physics of it, people say, oh, it was blowback, like he got hit so hard that his head went backwards after he got shot, but, I call bullshit, like the exit entry wound, all that stuff, I'm one of those, you call me a conspiracy theorist on that, but all the new information that's released, it just backs it up that Lee was a patsy, or even if he is involved. From what I've heard, even Russia said he was a bad shooter, and if we're supposed to be better than Russia, supposedly, and I say supposed to, because that's what I'm at the American propaganda. Don't let me say propaganda, because I don't want to be fucking, I'll be taken out by a goddamn secret society. No, American, patriotism, whatever, is America first, America's the best, yada yada, so forth, so on. I just want to meet my heroes before I go. Oh shit. So, what does anybody else think on that? Because I definitely don't think that fuck, and he was like, what, 24 years old? Not that you can't be a good shot, or, he joined the military, I get that, but, I mean, come on, man, 24 years old, he looks like, I don't know, and then they say it was at least three shots in 6 seconds, and it's like, he was a single action rifle, from what I was told. So it could have had, still the clip, whatnot, I don't know, but I've watched a couple things, with expert marksmen and things like that, and even they say, it's, even if I got 3 shots off in 6 seconds, I would have missed by 60 yards or whatever. So, I don't really know. To me, like I said, I always believed that somebody did something. I don't think it was old Ozzy. And if he did, I don't think he delivered the final, the final blow, so to speak. And speaking on, people have passed, rest in peace to all the fucking Kennedys, because God knows, I don't know what they were doing behind the scenes, but Jesus, to have that last name, I'd be scared to even fucking go outside, because my parents told me of the Kennedy curse, the American, royal family, not royal family, but for all intents and purposes, royal family, Kennedy curse. And, and just to rewatch that, and the fact that it was on TV, it's like, it's just, not on TV, but on the Zapruder film. The Zapruder film shows the problem. No, let me know what you think about that. Obviously releasing people's private information that's still alive, we don't want to do that. But, as far as getting down to the, the final answers in the case, that'll be interesting over the next couple of years, see what they find. I believe, like I said, I believe they're going to have to find that they may not find out who, because so many people take credit for it because they want to be popular or who, whatever. I don't know. I wouldn't want to be popular for that, even if I was old and in prison. Like, well, screw it. I'm old. I'm gonna die in prison. I might as well be known for something. Like, nah, I don't know if I want to be known for that. That's like, that's like if the 9/11, terrorists were still alive, because obviously they were some of the first to go when the planes hit, But if they were still alive and in prison, it's like if they were just like, I want to be known for something better than this. I don't know. But, so I don't think we're ever going to get a stone cold named killer, but I think the fact trail is going to lead us. It's already led to, like I said, the government has been doing some shady shit for a long time. And it's funny because I always had, not that I was a full 100% believer, but I'm like, yeah, government's there to help us. And they're like, no, dude, government doesn't give a shit about you or me or, yada, yada. And now it's like, all right, that they're willing to fucking blow the head off of their own leader over a disagreement, then, yeah, I'm not taking any risks, like, that's why even earlier, like I said, I changed the propaganda to patriotism or whatever you got to do, just, and if anybody fucking comes for me, just let me meet my heroes first, fucking put all my favorite comedians, actresses, and actors, and, sports stars, put them all at a big round table, and then fucking blow my head off at the end of the table at the end of the dinner, so I can at least go out, not necessarily doing what I love, but at least I could say, hey, well, I got to meet cool people, all the people I think are cool. And when I mean my favorite, I don't mean like, oh my God, it's Margot Robbie, she's Barbie, oh, I need to meet Barbie. Not like that, like fucking fangirl, fanboy favorite. Obviously there's good looking, actresses that are, very attractive, but if I do want to meet them, it's not just the attractive, like Scarlett Johansson. She's been voted one of the most beautiful women in the world a couple times, and she is, in my opinion. But the intellect inside that fucking brain of hers, dude, she would make me feel stupid as hell. And I'm not saying I'm super smart, but I did graduate 4.0 and went to college. I failed in college. That's partying. That's what drinking and drugs and boozing, like Bill would say, boozing and partying, man. That's what it'll do for you. It'll lose your degree. But yeah, no. On that note, I think she, if we sat down and had an intellectual conversation, I think 5 minutes in, I'd be walking away with my tail between my legs if I was debating her. Now, if we were just talking, for fun and not actually against each other, debating, like just, what do you think? What do you think? Yada, yada. I think we'd sit for hours and have an amazing intellectual talk, So, but that was a movie, a movie star, model, actress, whatever you want to call it. But that's my point. Is, everybody I want to meet, even like Bill, it's not just because he's funny, because I know plenty of old men that are funny. My dad's old and funny. He's an asshole like Bill's dad. He's fucking doesn't give a shit unless you're about to die, probably like Bill's dad, but still, one of the greatest men in the world, just like Bill says about his dad. Isn't this fucking adding up? God, it's like he's like my long-lost cousin. Maybe we had the same dad. Let's get into that. Let's do it. If I was named Billy, I'd do it. But, no, it's like even Bill, like I said, funny old man, but he's smart, he plays dumb, and that's part of the funny, but he actually knows some shit, and that's one reason. And then you got like Adam Sandler, yeah, Ro, you want to meet him because he's rich and he's funny and he's got voices and blah blah. No, it's not even all because of that. It's because he's a smart dude, and when he fucking goes out places, he dresses normal, acts normal, and he doesn't make everybody feel like a fucking, scumbag because he's in a nice fucking, Louis Vuitton suit and all that dumb shit or whatever the fuck, all the people wear to fucking shows and shit. Like you got Bill, he's in his New Balance, he's in his sweatpants and, jogging pants and shirt, and he just got back from the big gay gym. On that note, congrats. I did remember one thing. Congrats on your 40, what do you say? Not 48 or 46, but maybe 43, 44, somewhere in there, fitting into jeans. Congrats, you old man, because that, for your age, losing them pounds is a hell of a thing. That's lower than I am. I think I'm 46 or 36 or, yeah, no, 30. God damn, 46. No, 36. That's what he said. 34 is what he got into. But yeah, congrats on that with your big gay gym. You've probably been sweating it out and doing it out, sword fighting it out in the saunas, but I know you're not going to admit that. That's all I got. I got to go in late for work here. Like I said, I'm going to re-listen, take those notes, make sure I have some actual responses for you to Mondays and Thursdays on Tuesday. Other than that, have a safe, happy weekend. We got some big storms coming through the eastern half of the United States this weekend, so everybody be safe, be smart, stay happy, healthy, go fuck yourselves. Bill, go fuck yourself. Andrew the feminist, go fuck yourself and your music. And that's it. Tuesday.